somebody asks you, what do I need to work on? There's no one thing you need to work on, man. Like, there's a million different things that you can do better.
Hello, and welcome back to my channel. It's BornFree here. If you're short on time, use the timestamps to get to the questions and topics that you're interested in. They are in the description and the pinned tweet. Also, there are podcast options in the description and in the pinned tweet. This is the longest interview I've ever done. It was with RobTV at Defend the North. I didn't have time to edit it before Evo. I felt bad about that. God knows what we talked about. He's a content creator and an interesting chap, so he must have had me captivated. It is long, really long. I'm going to try and cut it down in the edit, but we'll see what happens. It might just end up being really, really long. The other thing I want to let you know is that I did an interview with an incredible Japanese Street Fighter player at Evo. There were some interpretation issues, but it looks like it can be salvaged using subtitles, so that'll be ready when I get back from England in a couple of weeks. And there's another small interview I did for Stream Monsters, not FGC, totally FGC related, so look forward to that. Anyway, enjoy. A favourite question of people who follow me, certainly, and my questions. Do you have favourite players to watch right now, or favourite all-time players, and why?
One thing that sucks with getting like heavily entrenched in the FGC is losing the fan perspective. You know what I mean? Like when I first went to a major,
losing to a god who you're like a fan of.
Oh no!
Is that what you mean? Okay, no.
I'm saying the feeling of being a fan. Like when I first went to my first major, I'm like, oh my god, that's
what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But now these are like my peers. You know what I mean? So they lose a lot of the mystique that they have, or all of it,
right.
The mystique. There's one player in the entire FGC that has mystique to me, and that's Daigo. Okay. I will forever be a Daigo fan. I think Daigo is the GOAT. Yeah. The way he plays, I love his mindset. I mean, and then just seeing how he behaves on his stream.
Yes.
That was so confusing at first.
Amazing.
Yeah, because at first you think that he's like this super quiet guy, but then he's just making all these funny sounds and screaming and joking all the time, and
popping off when he does stuff in training.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, I'm like, wait, because I pop off that stuff, and then I'm like, oh yeah, I'm not Daigo, and then I watch Daigo pop off on stream because he can do something like on his hitbox, and I'm like,
yeah,
and like he can finally do it. He's practicing, and then he pops off, and you're like, you just did a pop off because of something you did in training. Like I do that.
Yeah.
And you're the greatest player I've ever.
The GOAT, bro.
You used to be like, he is somewhat demystified by FGC translated, but only to us on the West. Like for the guys in the East, I think they've probably been watching his stream for a long time and sort of seen that for a long time,
for years maybe.
But the channel FGC translated is showing us like this side of Daigo, where we're like, wow, and particularly the way he thinks, like it's very different.
It is.
And he's very willing to take risks. When he talks about Kimono Michi, and he talks about like, I wanted to find a young player who could learn fast, and I would tell him, I would just download, I would be like, here is everything you need to know about my guile, and now I need you to like find counter moves or counter strategy to everything, and then I'm gonna like try and figure out how to like be better than that. Like the way he thinks about things is just so like it's a corny saying, but it's out of the box.
It is, and that's what one thing I've noticed is just mindset. Like you said, 2017 was recently, right, for my first major, but the mindset difference from the average player that been traveling for 50 years or whatever, that may not have broke through a ceiling, that could be an issue with with mindset. I noticed, so like even though Daigo's the only player at FGC I'm a fan of. I have a lot of respect for other players, but some of those players, I would say Punk obviously is the best player in the world, and he's someone who I would say I think he runs into an issue that I run into, where I wonder how people perceive my level of intelligence in the FGC. I don't know. I wonder how people perceive someone like Punk's level of intelligence in the FGC. The reason I say that is because maybe a lot of times I'm joking around, or maybe naturally the smart guy stereotypically is the super quiet guy in the corner, off to himself. But when you have a more extroverted personality, I don't think that a lot of people realize there's stuff that I notice with Punk, like just watching his matches, for example, or Punk, I've never watched one of your damn matches on my own time. But hypothetically, if I was to watch one of his matches, there's stuff I noticed, like you had to put in so many hours, like they innovate. That's something I learned from Problem X, another one of the players that I love to watch. And just, and a friend as well, talking to him, he doesn't think like other players. And one of the issues that we have in the FGC, and this is, oh God, I'm glad this even came up, because I wanted to bring this up in the Karen conversation. Of course, it's easier to freaking pick Karen and get some type of better results when Punk has already flushed the character out and is showing you his theory every single tournament, and he's the most watched player out of everyone because he's winning right now. He's already showing us. Problem X, with Bison, he's always telling me, like, he is the one who's going in and creating this and that and the third. And then the scene follows Problem X. I remember because one time I went to him and I said, bro, like, I thought about it, and I was like, people study the best players with their character. I'm like, but you are the best player with their character. Who the hell do you study? He said, I don't. I go into training mode and come my own shit.
I asked the same question to Kido.
Really?
Yeah, because when there was a gluttony of like new Akumas,
I saw that interview.
Yeah, I was like, what do you do? Like, one of my first questions was like, I think he just won Evo or something like that, and I was like, look, you're winning. You learn when you're losing. Yeah. Like, so how do you learn when you're winning? And I think he felt like that you can still learn from your mistakes, you can still learn from your wins, you can, but yeah, he's another one. He completely, when Akuma came out, if he hadn't done what he did with Akuma, people could still not be playing Akuma.
We thought Akuma sucked. I remember that. People thought Akuma sucked. His buttons are too stubby. They thought his
fireball only goes half the screen.
Yes.
Like,
I remember that.
Everything.
Bro, do you remember final round, my first major, that's the same one. Shien won with a Buki, but everyone thought a Buki sucked. No one knew about the bomb mix-ups and stuff like that. Right. But he created that, and that's lost.
I want this, talking of people who are innovating with characters, right? Punk has talked about this guy a lot, and I follow him because I play Kage. I don't know why I play Kage. I actually do know why I play Kage, but that's for another conversation. This is your interview. But everyone thinks Kage sucks, but there's this guy called Teru online who is basically cooking everybody with Kage, right? And like, there's a character for everybody, right? Like, and there's a character that you'll get attached to, and for some reason that character will work for you. And this guy Teru, I believe, is in Japan. Punk, I think, tried. He said in that interview that Logan,
I remember
that he had been trying to get hold of that guy to see if he could like bring him out to Evo, but I think he's just an online player or something like that. But he's like the best Korean. He's the best Kage in the world, and if these players don't put in that work, it's very possible no one will ever know. Yeah. Akuma was a character that I don't know, if he hadn't done that, I don't know who would have.
No one.
Like, because, and I don't know where that character would be placed right now. I don't know what would have happened in their patch.
Yes.
Like, all I know is, like, he went away, did a bunch of work, won Evo, and made Akuma look godlike, right?
Yes.
And yeah, sure, you can sit back now and you can go, Akuma has these tools and this tool and that tool, and he's amazing at that.
Bro.
But guess what? If he hadn't done that work, I literally have no idea who would.
And people say there's no variety in how how you play a character. Oh, you can't tell this Akuma from that Akuma. That's because all you motherfuckers trying to be like Taquito. You can't tell this Karen from that Karen. That's because all you trying to be like Punk. That's like, me and Punk were talking trash at E3 or whatever. We had the exhibition for Street Fighter League. But one of the things he said, like, my Karen is weird, like makes weird decisions. Like, there's stuff he doesn't agree with. I'm happy there's stuff he doesn't agree with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? One of the things I remember...
Bonchan said the same thing about...
Really?
Because he's had a few videos recently where he's been talking about Punk. I think it's been annoying Punk because... In that video with Problem X, he was talking about... they're all focused on me.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of Bonchan videos in FGC Translated where Bonchan is talking about Punk because he studies him all the time, right? Why wouldn't he? He plays Kareen, like he's the best Kareen player, but Bonchan is philosophically speaking, he's basically like, I've decided that I actually can't do what Punk does.
Yes.
But I'm gonna keep playing the character because I play it like this.
In my own way. I remember if there was one other time, people might have forgotten this. I'll never hear this brought up, where people had started to switch to Karen a little bit, but then they stopped. I think it was like season 2 when Punk was winning everything. But infiltration for one tournament, I think it might have been in Korea or something, I don't remember. But for one tournament, he picked Karen. And I remember he dashed around with her in neutral though. And like he pressed light kick a lot and pre-buffered normals in neutral. Now, of course, this wasn't a fleshed out strategy yet, and he stopped playing Karen after that.
It sounds like a Nash strategy, but yeah.
Yeah, like Nash. It's kind of like Nash. Yeah. But I genuinely believe if he stuck to Karen, he would have had that completely different style of, you know what I mean, of Karen.
Yeah.
But after people see something succeed, they stop trying to learn and play. That's one of the things, like me and Cero Blast, we always talking trash to each other. But one thing I can say with Cero Blast plays, I'm not a fan of Cero Blast style personally. But Cero Blast is a good player and plays his own way. People think, oh, that's crazy, that's YOLO, so on and so forth. But at least it's innovative. Now, you might need to fine tune it and do X, Y, and Z, but you have a better starting point in some ways than other players because you're doing your own thing. So tier lists and stuff like that, imagine that Kage player all of a sudden can travel to more majors. I know Punk was saying he wants to send him to some stuff.
Yeah, I don't think he can. I'm pretty sure
he can't find them right now.
He can't get hold of him.
But if hypothetically, now let's say he could come to America to 3 straight majors and he gets. Let's say he wins 2 of the premieres. He wins 2 premieres and gets 9th at the other one. All of a sudden,
Kage is like the greatest character.
Yes, but he won't get credit. It won't be, oh, he's winning with Kage. What? Only the first tournament. But then after that, oh, hell no, Kage's busted. Yeah. He has this, he has that, and people are going to start picking up Kage.
Yeah.
So, but the rough thing is, as good as, I was going to say, the rough thing is that stuff like this feels like a waste of breath because the community is going to keep thinking on that low level mindset. But it's not, because I know that there's a few people out there, just even if it's 5 people, there's a few people out there who's gonna actually be sparked by this, and it may change the way that they approach the game, and they'll level up way faster than most people did, just like I have. Yeah, so, but that whole concept, bro, like about the, like the favorite players, or just the whole, like, the mindset and everything, it is very triggering and annoying seeing the wild stuff I see on the internet, man. Like the conversations about tier lists and it's kind of whack.
I mean, like the way I look at it is this is basically people just want to talk about stuff, and it's okay, it's fun, like whatever, it's fun until it's not fun. But like most of it is just like people want something to do, they want something to talk about. It's all, it's fine. It's just a conversation starter, at the end of the day.
It's weird being public.
But don't take it. Don't take it too seriously. Like, because there are definitely characters that you can gel with, and potentially you could be the greatest. You could be the greatest player in the world using a character that no one ever thought could happen. Zeku is a good example of a character that is just like suddenly popping up.
And it's actually good.
Yeah, people are like, "Wow, this character could definitely, take home a Capcom Cup or or an Evolution."
Yeah.
All right, training schedule. Just real quick, I guess. Do you have a very specific, these days at least, do you have a very specific way of training, a number of hours a day, types of things you do, or is it all on the fly? Is it mostly at events? Like how do you level up?
So I actually, I was like studying Warren Buffett and like Bill Gates or whatever at some time. And I remember Bill Gates, his schedule was very detailed every single day. Like every hour was flushed out. And Warren Buffett said he doesn't have a schedule. Like he said he can't work like that. Like he feels
because
trapped.
he doesn't he just focus on one or two things?
Yeah,
and then he's just like fuck everything else.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, okay, and that sounds more like me. And
that sounds like me as well.
I can't do that.
I gotta read that book maybe.
I remember like creating YouTube videos was always like easy for me, right?
Yeah,
but when I like tried to force myself to have a specific schedule and I knew this needed to be done by this time, all of a sudden it's difficult.
I totally agree, because I've been trying to do schedules lately where I'm like, all right, I got 10, I want to achieve 20 things this week. So if I do an hour on each every day, like across 2 days, like, and I just can't do it, man. But like if I wake up in the morning and I go, I just want to do a skit. And that's it. Forget everything else. I just want to do a video, and then I'll just I go hyper focused and I'll do it. Yeah. So how does that affect you? Sorry, how does that affect you in regards to your training?
I would say I always am working on specific things. It has to have been like a year and a half. Maybe a year and a half or something like that since the last time I just got online and played without consciously working on something.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's always a point to what you do.
Yeah, 100%. So it's very, helpful. So it's like, I would say it's a pretty fluid thing. It's sort of on the fly. But I write a lot. Like if we're at my house right now, I pull up my desktop. And the sticky notes, there would just be like all over the screen. All this random stuff. I have documents, like Microsoft documents, all over the place. Google Docs. My Google Docs is full of stuff. And some of it is stuff I never go back and look at or whatever, but I just like the
process of writing it down helps.
Yeah, it helps me tremendously, I even have I have whiteboards. So like one whiteboard.
So do I.
Yeah, one of them I wrote down like my achievements to keep myself from being too depressed and all that stuff.
You do need reminding sometimes.
Right. So I write my achievements down and or whatever on one board. But then on my other board, I call it Cerebro, like from the X-Men. Yeah. And it's a huge whiteboard. Yeah. And on there, I actually write down exactly what I want to work on, and I try to write down all these different concepts, because the thing in fighting games is at all times you need to improve. Somebody asks you, what do I need to work on? There's no one thing you need to work on, man. Like there's a million different things that you can do better. You can always have whiff punish that. You can always work on your hit confirming, or downloading your opponent. So one thing that is difficult with being on the fly and being less organized is maybe I'm working on something, but then I learn this new concept where I'm interested by, like I said, I watched that John Jones fight, or I might have seen Daigo do this. And I'm like, if I take that idea, but I do this with it, but I didn't finish perfecting the other concept I was working on. You know what I mean? So that's the issue with it. But yeah, generally speaking, I definitely just work on the fly. Like I do a lot of, how I get better? The main way I get better is from talking to people. By far, bro. Just going, me and Samurai, for example, we got long ass messages. You know what I mean?
That's cool.
Theory fighting. That's cool. It just going to majors. When I first started going to majors, I had my phone. Well, I would go talk to someone, and I'm completely unknown at this point. I'd go talk to someone, and I would, after that, I would walk away, and I would bring my phone out and write and type the notes in there from that conversation. Because I know I don't overestimate the human mind. I know I'll forget certain things.
Yeah.
I still do stuff like that sometimes. Like I'll write down notes from certain conversations.
I'm doing it right now.
Yeah,
I've literally written whiteboard reminder.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. Stuff like that, you know? So, talking to people, different people learn in different ways. Some people learn by doing. But for me, the concept alone, like in college, one thing that was always good for me, like, you know, me and my girlfriend at the time, like, you know, we had like take some courses together.
Yeah.
And she's way more, I guess they call it, I think right brain, whatever, the more analytical.
Yeah.
And I'm way more like the, I guess,
creative. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But when I go to class, if I'm just there, I'm the main guy raising hands and talking and answering the question or whatever, right?
That's the only way I can learn. I'm the same. I need the smaller class. If you have a big class and there's 200 people, I don't learn shit.
Really? Yeah. I mean, so I'm always raising my hand and talking and or whatever. Like, I'm just interested.
I have to be interacting.
Yeah, but if I don't study for the test, I will still get like a B or something like that.
Right.
Because I learned it, like I'm internalizing it because I'm talking about it so much.
Yeah.
Whereas she may be like not as interested in, or doesn't appear as interested in the moment. She's getting like very detailed notes.
Yeah.
And she goes to studies and then she gets an A or B.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
So I just always just from conversation, that's anecdotes, things like that's always helpful for me.
I'm like that too, actually. But all right, so we're going to wrap up a little bit. So let's just quickly talk about general fighting games because we talked about Street Fighter. So and we talked about WWE, which was called WWF before, probably when you were a little kid.
Yeah.
But do you play any other fighting games?
I play some Mortal Kombat.
You do this one?
Yeah, Mortal Kombat 11. I never had played one before. I mean, of course, I played like casually with my dad and like I have a lot of siblings too, like brothers. You know.
How many?
There's 6 of us total. We all grew up in the same house and stuff like that.
It's just all the same.
I'm the oldest. Yeah. Well, no, there's 2 that are not.
2 dads?
Yeah. Well, 2 that are not the same dad. 2
siblings. Okay.
Yeah, 2 siblings.
I was gonna say your dad was busy.
Right. Yeah, there's 2 siblings that are not. So
there's 6 of you. Wow, that's a lot of people.
But we all grew up in the same house, and so we actually played all the fighting games. Like we played Tekken, Dead or Alive, Soul Calibur.
You did? Okay.
Yeah, you know, but of course we weren't like serious. But at this point, I feel like I'm like. It's hard to explain, bro. I love video games, right? Of course, like probably everybody, you know, while we're doing this. So I played everything at one point. Like I love, especially sports games. I'm a big sports fan. Boxing, like Fight Night. I was like ranked 4 in the world on the leaderboards and stuff. Fight Night round 4, I believe. Like, you know, Call of Duty, Gears of War. I love all that stuff. But now I only really play Street Fighter. Even though I love all these other games. But it's just, I'm so addicted to training. When it really dawned on me is when we went to E3 for the Street Fighter League exhibition. And everyone's like, oh, this and that. And I'm like, whoa, I don't play any of this. Like, I'm not even in the loop. Like, Monster Hunter looks fun. I never played it before. You know, like, there's all these cool stations. And I'm like, I forgot what it's like to really play video games. Like, it's hard to even consider myself a gamer right now.
Gutex used to say the same thing because I don't think he plays any video games other than Street Fighter. Like, I mean, before it was Third Strike, and then it was Street Fighter 4 and Street Fighter 5. I don't know how much Street Fighter 5 he's playing these days, but like. He definitely doesn't consider himself a video gamer. Yeah,
like I would consider myself it, but I don't. I really do just play like Street Fighter. Like if I'm especially like playing another fighting game. The thing is, I think it's important to take breaks too. I think it's important to play other games. I find that I think that I learned that
this game, interestingly enough, is definitely one where you walk away and you come back and you need that break, like to start thinking different.
I think your interview with Taquito. Actually, he's talking about he talked to tennis or something with tennis or like.
He takes from
sports psychology.
That was really interesting. That was about Taquito in particular. You know, is a very holistic player, so he will take learnings from all over the place. Samurai is sort of like very similar too, right? I mean, the joke is obviously that, you know, the joke that Punk made, I think, at Street Fighter League was...
He said, so how long does one... Like, Samurai's meditating.
It was amazing,
so how long does one take to become Taquito Jr.?
Yeah, I mean, I think that worked, actually. I think he did get into his head a little bit there. But, I mean, it was an amazing cuss.
That was funny.
It was an amazing cuss. How long does one... The way you worded it as well.
Yeah.
How long does one take to become Taquito Jr.?
How long does one take?
But the things I've interviewed Samurai, and the things that Samurai thinks about are pretty wild. Like in terms of he thinks so. You know, he'll think about like the place that he's traveling to. Samurai, I can't remember if this is right or wrong, but he tends to think about he'll think about where he's traveling to, and he'll think about what time he'll be playing, what time he'll be waking up, what time he'll be going to sleep, and he'll try to customize himself in some form or fashion.
He decides how he eats based on that. Like if he's gonna eat that,
You're right. I'm not saying it wrong. Yeah. Okay.
He'll decide like, I'm gonna eat this because of this time and all that stuff like that. Like right now, I play like some Call of Duty.
You do?
Black Ops 4. Yeah, I like that game.
The team games or the battle royale.
Oh yeah, I've never played a battle royale game, so I never actually tried it. Like the Black
weird,
Ops
man.
or whatever.
It's weird.
That's what. Yeah, I like playing like fucking team deathmatch or whatever. Like.
Yeah, Team Deathmatch is
That's the
I'm
shit.
100% with you on that one.
Like Gears of War execution. I might get an Xbox One just to get Gears of War, the new Gears of War. Yeah, but
you know who's really into that?
Who?
Our friend Mr. Mustaphals.
Oh really?
Yeah, super into it. He's playing the beta this weekend. I think he's playing the beta this weekend.
Apparently Unk is too. You know, Alex Vi, but Unk, my boy Dual Kevin, Chris T, you know, a few of us are considering like linking up on their little FGC squad going.
Oh, I see.
You know, speaking of like, shout out to my guy XDSC Hitman, but it's funny, like a few of us FGC guys like clanned up a little bit and played Black Ops, and it was finally giving us a break, like we were talking about from playing Street Fighter.
Yeah.
And you know how you can put like a clan tag? Yeah. Yeah, like FGCR, like FGC retirement. That was like our little group over there.
It was?
Yeah, so we might have a new one for Gears.
That's funny. For Gears, I never play multiplayer, but I do adore the campaign.
Yeah,
I think it's
fire.
I think everything is so visually appealing.
Yeah,
it's just a brilliant game. I really like playing it. Anyway, did you feel like you made any? I got a couple of more because I'm going to split this into two. So
okay, yeah, that sounds good.
I figured I'd throw these questions at you. You may not have an answer. It's fine. But do you feel like fighting games have taught you anything about life? Like through the process of learning about fighting games, through the process of meeting people, through the process of traveling, through the process of anything that relates to fighting games, do you feel like fighting games have taught you things about life? There are things that you've taken from fighting games and you applied them to other things in your life. Tough question, right?
Yeah. I remember someone actually asked, you know, like there's a stereotype with chess that like, you know, makes you more intelligent. So people assume chess players are like extremely. So I remember someone asked, I think it was Gary Kasparov. It was has chess taught you anything or made you? And he's like, no. He's like, I'm just good at chess. Magnus Carlsen says the same thing. Like, dude, I'm just good at chess. I mean, like, you guys are making it more than what it is. Yeah. But I would say more so the other way around. Like, the stuff I learned about business before fighting games, I apply it to fighting games.
Okay.
You know, so and I would say like there's some stuff in like social psychology courses that I've taken or whatever that actually or sociology or whatever that's actually applied to the way that the way that I move around in the community outside of just in the game. You know, like I understand the importance of like, I understand like the importance of image and branding and things of that nature. And I even see what missteps I've taken and how they were luckily fixed because this happened XYZ. But there's just a whole lot of stuff. Like the way that I look at a lot of things in life, what I notice is that it's kind of like if you read a self-help book or something. A lot of times when they give you advice, it says something about how whether you're a business person or an athlete or this can help you. And it sounds like BS, but then you realize like it's true. A lot of the general guidelines to succeeding at anything are, widely applicable to succeeding at, to LeBron, what LeBron did to be great at what he does is similar to what, Barack Obama or something did.
I agree. I mean, the reason I actually usually ask that question is because there's a bunch of stuff when I started to sit down and think about how to get better at the game, even though a lot of the time I ended up not implementing it enough. But I did it enough to understand that I was breaking some preconceptions I had about life. So I would, for instance, there would be a combo that I couldn't do, right? I don't know, let's take Street Fighter 4, Ryu's Dragon Punch FADC into Ultra, right?
Yeah.
Like, beautiful looking thing, right? Like, that Daigo would do, like, the perfect moment all the time, right? And I remember starting to do that combo and thinking, I can never do this. And I'll just keep practicing, sleep, practice, and then eventually I could do it. And then I could do it in a match, right?
Yeah.
And it just taught me that there are moments where you think, I 100% can't do this, but actually you can, and you can't necessarily explain why.
Yeah.
Because you just keep practicing it, right?
And at some point it just clicks.
Yeah.
Right? Like you don't know when you actually got to the next skill level or whatever, and it's just like, and it's the hardest thing in the world all of a sudden feels second nature to you, right? After working on it that much. No, I agree with that. I've definitely experienced that a lot.
There's a lot of things like that in fighting games where I just feel like I've thought about them in fighting games, and then I thought, oh my god, I can apply that to life. Like, it's interesting.
I'm a lot more, I would say, in life now, because of fighting games, I'm a lot more patient, and I don't just mean like, because it takes patience to, you got to play lame. I don't mean that, but like, generally speaking, I think usually we get instant gratification. Like even with college, in my opinion, it's instant gratification. Like I said, I immediately can get X grade, or I'm on a certain track. I graduate in 4 years. So if I do this, I get the credits now. I get the grade now. Whereas with like something like trying to be a pro gamer, there's no clear roadmap.
Nah.
And the fact that, like, again, there's a set time, like, 4 years. Whereas with this stuff, I don't know when I break through that threshold.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I have to have
There's no guarantees.
You know what I mean? But yeah, so I've definitely learned a good amount of stuff to apply to life. But usually it goes the other way around.
All right. Do you feel like you're making sacrifices for pursuing? Because you're all in, right? You're pursuing this idea of being a professional Street Fighter player, making it your main source of income, and it's an environment which is very sort of, sometimes it's up, sometimes it's down.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. But in order to make it, I feel like you kind of have to be obsessed, right?
Yeah.
Like you kind of have to be 100% invested and obsessed.
I agree.
So when you're obsessed with something, usually you're sacrificing other things. Do you feel like that's going on or no?
Oh, 100%. There's a lot of opportunity costs. Like, I often find myself thinking about, like, maybe like classmates of mine from business school who are now actually here in New York, working on Wall Street.
Right.
Like there's specific, people, that come to my mind right now, more than one, who are like working on Wall Street or at Ernst & Young or whatever the hell, and they're making way more money than me right now doing that.
Yeah.
And I could be doing that instead. So sometimes if I'm going through like a specific struggle or something, I will be like, damn, like I could, how much money I'm fucking losing right now. And then not only am I losing it, I'm losing it only for stream monsters and whatnot to go on there and disrespect all of the hard work I'm doing. Like, this is my life, seriously. But overall, I definitely always come back to this being the right decision. Like, you just, that's one of the things I struggle with, and it sucks, the fact that you can't experience everything in life.
No, you can't.
Like, it would have been interesting to go to rap route or go on the corporate America route.
Right.
And a pro gamer and go back and go be a doctor and things of that nature. Mm-hmm. And I really mean that too. Like, that actually bothers me seriously. Mm-hmm. Like, that you can't experience everything. But I feel like if you do enjoy something, like, fucking go 100% towards it, because those same people hit me up, like that on Wall Street and stuff, and they tell me that they're super proud of what I'm doing. Yeah. And that they're like, some of them, I'm not saying everyone who does that, but they're literally telling me that they hate it. It's, we hear about this all the time, but it's interesting for where I'm from, basically the area I'm from, in the inner city, we don't have people who work like big careers that often, or, making a lot of money, or in a nice big building, stuff like that. So I had to actually go to college and meet these people. That was I was an adult when I'm first seriously meeting people that do that sort of thing. And so it's a whole different thing for me, like actually talking to these people, and they're telling me that they hate it, but they have a lot of money, but it's trash. And, they wish that like, dude, one of my buddies called himself, he's like, bro, I feel like a pussy. Like, I'm choosing to go this route instead of pursuing something I'm passionate about. And I don't think there's really a right answer to it overall. Mm-hmm. Like, what if I do this and then it ends up not going well, and I go into some depression and end up being a drunk on the street somewhere or whatever, right? Yeah. But I guess I'm just more so someone who's willing to risk that. And to me, it does not usually feel like a risk, because like I said earlier, I'm 100% confident that I'm gonna be the best player in the world and like become like a legend in fighting games. So that's the balance of it. The thing is, though, no matter how good you are, how great you are, the FGC is so small. Esports in general, the bubble of esports or whatever, like, no matter how good someone is, what if it pops and now all the work that you did, you still can't make it, or it's going to be harder to make a living anyway. But Daigo did it in way darker ages than this. Justin was doing it in way darker ages than this, when the prospects were worse. So, I'm definitely all in.
There's always money matches.
You know what I mean? right. But yeah, I'm aware of the risk and everything, but like I said, most times it doesn't feel like a risk, and that's life, dog. Like, there's a lot of people who are halfway in, halfway out. Like, yo, there's no fucking way you're about to be better than me or stay better than me when you are not all the way in this shit. Like, you're still trying to have a fucking safety net. People try to you know the movie Pursuit of Happiness, with Will Smith and his son?
Yeah, I haven't seen it though.
Okay, but you know about it. Okay, but the guy that it's about, I think his name is Christopher Garner. He's like big business guy, but he was like homeless and shit and became successful, one of those guys. But he said everybody talks about Plan B. He said fuck Plan B though. He might have put it in a less crass way, but because then your mind is always like, oh, okay, well, if worse comes to worse, he want to put everything in Plan A, and that's how I feel about it. A lot of people watching this right now be like, oh, that's stupid. You should do this and you should do that. Nah, I disagree. I'm going 100%. And even if I end up doing something else, I don't think any experience is a waste. So I'm still meeting people, and I still now know people in Red Bull and all these different cool Geico and TBS, things like that. I know these people now. I can hit them up. So that, who knows, that could lead to some other opportunities.
Yeah.
So nothing is a waste of opportunity at the end of the day. So, but I'm definitely 100% all in, bro.
Yeah, no, we could have another conversation about that because I've been there, done that. I've done the career and successfully, but that was a whole nother part of my life. But I agree with you. There's definitely an element of sometimes you wish you could sort of sample everything. That was a big existential crisis for me when I was growing up. Was like, everyone was like, I'm gonna be a fireman, I'm gonna be this, I'm gonna be that, and I was like, I have no freaking idea what I'm gonna be. Like, give me a taste of what any of this lifestyle is like, because I need to know. Because I've never understood people. I mean, God bless them, and like, well done if you knew at 18 what you wanted to do for the rest of your life, and you went off to college and you did it and you carried on, the rest of your life was perfect and that's exactly what you wanted to do, then more power to you. But a lot of people are unhappy because they make those decisions very early and end up in spots that they don't want to be in.
Yeah, we don't know anything yet. Like you said, you consider me a kid still at 26.
Oh yeah, sure.
So, I know that there's mad stuff that I don't know right now. You know what I mean? But like you said, you're supposed to make life-altering decisions when you don't even know a whole lot.
I think it's insane, personally. It's a little different in the UK, at least it used to be. When I went to university, it was more about, you would finish university and it was more about, all right, that guy what we know about that guy is he can get a 2-1 or a first or whatever. That guy can get a degree. Mm-hmm. We know that guy is organized. We know that guy is smart.
Yeah.
And therefore you could move into more different opportunities in terms of jobs. I think over here it tends to be a little bit more like the decision you make when you're
specialized.
When you're 18 is the decision.
Yeah. Oh, you fucking work to be an engineer or fucking math teacher or whatever. That's what you're gonna. Of course, people have degrees and end up working in different fields. Like, I believe this guy's name. You guys can Google it. Jim Armada, I believe. But he's the CEO of Publishers Clearinghouse, and the business school I went to is like, this is a really good school. So I talked to him there, and he told me he had a freaking history degree.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, you're the CEO of Publishers, a multi-millionaire. You know what I mean? So there is, I guess, some wiggle room. But generally speaking, they're asking us to pick a major and just go and be that. Like, that's one thing I like about the FGC in general, or content creation or whatever. It's so wide open.
Well, I mean, you're trying to at least make your own way in life. Like, you're trying to have people support you.
Yeah.
Whether it be YouTube ad revenue, which is garbage, but or if it's streaming, or if it's
you control your own destiny,
or
more.
if it's a sponsor or whatever, right? Like, you control your destiny a little bit more in that context. But I can tell you right now, my degree was in geology.
Word. That's interesting.
I don't know anything about rocks. I can't remember any of it. But my degree was in geology. I did it because I enjoyed going on field trips. And then I went into advertising. Well, I went into banking for a little bit. Then I went to advertising. I made a career in advertising, ended up in America with a green card, and now I'm like an FGC influencer.
Yeah.
Sort of how I see myself. So, and there's a lot of little things in between there. There's like DJing and fishing and all sorts of weird things that I was interested in, So, life is I think more interesting when you get an opportunity to try different things.
Yeah, and I feel like stuff for me, it just has to be wide open like this. Like, people talk about job security. That's a big reason people.
I don't think that exists much anymore.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
But like, that's like, what's that company? Enron? Was it Enron?
Yeah, the smartest guys in the room.
Yeah. And I look at that situation and I'm like, damn, those people work hard as fuck for their degrees or whatever. And then I'm sure maybe they get other careers and stuff, but that was just a huge boom, just out of nowhere, shuts down. And it got me thinking, like, okay, yes, I can do something on my own like this, fighting games, and I could fail. But if I had to take a half-court shot for $1 million, I want to take the fucking shot. You know what I mean? If I miss, I miss. But at least let me I can look at myself and say it was my fault. you're putting so much more in other people's hands. That's like this interview right now. Like, I could easily have been like, oh no, I'm gonna go, I don't know, to Times Square or something like that right now. I'm not gonna go to this interview. But the fact that I could choose to, when someone else may decline it, I could choose to be like, no, I'm going to do that shit. And now who knows if either I can make a new fan, or somebody who already, was a fan could learn more about me, or a sponsor might see it or be like, oh, this is a well-spoken guy, I could put my product on him, so on and so forth. But it's just way more control. Whereas, like, let's say, one thing that always bugged me, like, I do take pride, like when we talk about like the speed, like from 2017 to now, I do take pride in that. But one thing that always bugged me with corporate America was I can go into a fucking company, and even if I'm the best, I'm sorry I just naturally use so much profanity, but even if I'm the best person in the room, seniority exists. There's no getting around it. So there's no way I could become the CEO in a year.
Yeah.
Whereas in fighting games, if I'm just that, I don't care if you've been playing for 20 years. If I respect it and I thank you for what you built for us, but if I worked hard enough or if I figured this shit out, I can be the best tomorrow.
Right.
And it's my fault if I won or lost. So that's one of the things that's super appealing to me about just doing fighting games in general. It's just super wide open, and it's just like a fucking you just don't know what's around the corner. Like, I did not know a reality TV show was gonna exist. So when I got into this,
yeah, that was wild.
You know what I mean? How could I even know? Like, oh, we're doing this interview right now, but you didn't know of me at one point. I didn't know that that BornFree channel would exist, and I just like how on the fly and adaptive it is. You know what I mean? That's beautiful to me. So yeah, I just think all that stuff is really interesting. I'm really passionate about that topic.
All right, so let me ask you this question since I hit you with a couple of the more philosophical ones. Again, you don't have to have an answer. If you don't, it's fine. But you've just been talking about philosophy. Do you have like a quote or a mantra which wraps that up a little bit? Like, that you think about? Is there something you go to on life?
This might be common. I don't know if a lot of people already know about this, but I remember like there was a time back in MySpace, the MySpace days. I was a kid, but people's names wouldn't be their actual names. At least where I'm from, like people have a name like Jason Get Money Johnson, like what I mean, weird stuff like that. I remember one time my name was like, Lupe Fiasco was the greatest rapper alive. That was my MySpace name at one point. So meeting Lupe is the craziest thing. But this quote though, it was like, life is 10% what happens to me and 90% how I react, or 1% what happens to me and 99% how I react. Yeah. So I don't mean to get too political, but generally speaking, people know about the plight, like specifically blacks have faced, like in America. Yeah. And I am from a typical, not household, but our income and our neighborhood, the shootings and all the regular stuff that go on. And I could easily see, like, I went to school with kids who were middle class, some of them, most of them were from where I'm from, but there were some middle class kids too. It was weird like that. And I could easily have been like, what the fuck? You got a car at 16, and be depressed and feel down on myself, like it's unfair. And actually I did at one point in life, but then eventually I was like, like Eminem is from where I'm from and he is very successful, Jay-Z and even like Ben Carson, not saying nothing about political views, but he's just a very successful guy from a rough inner city area. And I just noticed that, like, and then going back to life applying the Street Fighter, it's like V-Trigger. V-Trigger is cheap as fuck, but clearly there is a way to get around it, seeing as how certain players are always rising, to the top. So that's something that's really important to me. Life is 1% what happens to me, and 99% how I react. I think I'm in control of my own destiny. Like there's like my Facebook header or cover photo right now. I don't know who made the quote, but it's like the best way to predict the future is to create it, and that's how I operate.
That's dope.
Yeah.
That is dope. All right, well, I think we're going to round it out. Is there anything that, like, outside of fighting games, like, this is my slice of life question, like, is there anything outside of fighting games that, like, what are you into?
I love boxing. Now, I don't box myself. I want to learn. Yeah, I love watching boxing. Football. I'm a Cleveland Browns fan. I'm from Ohio, and the Browns about to be great this year. We got Odell Beckham, but I've been a Browns fan. I've dropped tears over the Browns being trash for years. Countless times. Let me see. Battle rap. I love watching battle rap. Actually, while I was out here, it was my first time in New York. I'm walking around, and there's this guy named Loaded Lux. He's arguably the greatest of all time. I run into him on the street.
Hey.
Dude, I got a picture of him. I'll show you after.
Oh, that's great.
I ran into Loaded Lux, and I'm like, yo, are you Lux? Like, he has an interesting way of talking. He's like, bless King, Like, he's, and I'm like, wow, But I'm heavy into battle rap. I actually write verses of my own from time to time still.
Yeah.
Like,
it's good to be creative.
Yeah, just a good release. Obviously, I like self-help books and stuff like that, motivational speaking.
They're quite addictive.
Oh, yeah.
There's so many of them, I don't know where to stop with that stuff.
Yeah, seriously. So I really like that. TED Talks, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I'm an occasional drinker. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Dude's been a horrible influence with that, so it's been a little more than occasional lately, but...
Any final thoughts for people who support you or potentially could support you?
Yes. For one, obviously the plugs. Definitely check out Street Fighter League and follow me on Twitter at RobTV. But the more important thing I really want to get at is have some... Try to understand your favorite players, even the ones that you don't like. It's actually like, I joked with you about it before on Twitter about like, oh yeah, we're famous, the FGC, but we go into the Walmart and no one knows us, right? But one thing I have realized is like fame, popularity, or whatever is all relative. Mm-hmm. There's some cold ass golf player out there who's a multi-millionaire because he has millions of fans, but I don't know him. But in that community, so in the end of the day, if your life is that community, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of people, social media is already damaging, right? We all know that at this point. Mm-hmm. You compare your life to other people and so on and so forth. And that's without, just as a regular person that's not in the public eye, there's not people just randomly talking trash about you and whatnot. Do you know how often me and my peers see RobTV is this, Sherry Jennings is that? That's all the time. People making serious judgments about you. When they never met you a day in their life. They only see you through Street Fighter. But the issue is that because I'm on this camera right now, it's like people don't treat us as like, people don't look at us as like people. You're looked at as like you're BornFree from the BornFree YouTube channel.
Right.
So you're like a TV character.
Yeah.
So the way that people talk about you online or whatever, and the care that they don't take with it sometimes is because they're not looking at you like a regular human. Mm-hmm. Whereas in person, they wouldn't do that. Not even out of fear, but out of natural human compassion that they lack when online. So in general, I would just say, please just try to have some type of patience and understanding. For that one time that you see us blow up and talk trash back to someone, there was 100 other times where we did not respond probably. Just And even for those people out there, you know, a lot of times we'll rag on the stream monsters who talk so much trash and, you know, say all kind of inappropriate things. But I try to make it a point to say, even though you might think it's BS, seriously, bro, like, I know that you might be going through something in your life to even be getting to that point. And there is a way out of it outside of just releasing it by trashing everybody online and everything. That's not me just trying to get you to stop trashing people online, but you genuinely would be happier if you're not doing that sort of thing. I don't ever leave a negative comment on a YouTube video. I think we talked about that before. But I don't try not to. If I don't like it, I just don't watch it. But wherever spot that you're in, you can get out of it. So yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to leave people with. You know, being in the public eye, at least within the FGC, can be a little or very daunting.
Well, I mean, basically what you're saying is we're human beings.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, it's just the concept of like, okay, Kendrick Lamar or freaking, you know, someone like Drake, they are famous in the world.
Yeah.
So people go look at us and like, oh well, you got, you know, you know.
Yeah.
But in the community, you know what I mean? Like you are a very popular, whatever words you want to.
No, I get it.
So you deal with the psychological ramifications of being in that public eye.
I mean, social media is just like that. It's these weird little bubbles, and you know, we, for instance, might be more well known than others within
that
the FGC, which is a tiny bubble,
but it's still the bubble we're in,
and it's a tiny. But you know, we do read the comments, we do see this, that, and the other, and yeah, we're human too, I guess.
Yeah,
I think that's what you're saying.
Try to put some respect on the people who have the confidence to get in front of this camera for you to go make that negative comment that you make. You know, like, you know, you're hiding behind an anime picture or something like that, even on the internet. You know,
that's right.
You're hiding on the internet. We're in person, getting on camera. You know, so you know, I think you should put some type of respect on that. But another thing, I think that a lot of players, you know, the clicky thing is talked about in the FGC, and of course there are like cliques, I guess, you know.
Yeah.
But I think it's important to note, because I always wondered that, like, you know, when you start out, your friends are all people from your local. So I'm like, how is it that all of a sudden you become friends with these other top players? Like, you become a top player and your friends are all these top players. It seemed fake to me and ingenuine. Like, are you hanging out with them because they're top players? Or, oh, this is Punk, so I'm going to be his friend. But what I come to realize through experiencing it is it's a natural thing. It's not it's a relatability thing. If I travel to all these tournaments, a lot of people may travel to one tournament a year. You know, but if we're traveling multiple times a month or whatever, even once a month, you're seeing these same. There's a different casual players from that city, but there's a certain core group that really
are always the same.
Yeah, so naturally those people are gonna bond more, and
yeah, you're living a similar lifestyle as well.
Yeah, it's a similar lifestyle where we know about the downsides, like we said, the depression, the ups and downs.
But you're also traveling, like you've got similar goals.
Exactly. So that's why that happens. So everything isn't people being Hollywood and fake and all that sort of thing. And just one more note on that. So this is an interesting thing, but like when it comes to people that are like, you know, fans or supporters or whatever, the reason some players may be distant a little bit is because there's some bad experiences that happen. Like when I first started having people like know who I was very extremely open. Like, oh man, like you wanna like, oh, you hang out, or you know what I mean? Like, but sometimes you might have a very weird experience from that, you know what I mean? And it's like you you see some weird stuff, some crazy stuff happen to people on the internet and everything, you know. So yeah, you know,
recently
for YouTubers and all that stuff like that. So, you know, sometimes people might be just trying to, you know, protect themselves and everything, but please try not to think that your favorite player is a douchebag or whatever. If the first time you meet them, they aren't extremely receptive. Anything could be going on in their lives at that moment, or they could have just lost or whatever. But
yeah. Also remember, this is the weirdest thing about social media, is that basically you get to see my face. All I get to see is your gamer tag. So if you meet me and are confused why I don't recognize you, it's because I literally have not seen your face.
Yeah,
I've only seen a game tag.
That's rough.
Social media is a very strange place like that. It's like you sort of develop this relationship with the person on screen, and then you forget that person hasn't seen me. I've done it myself. I waved at this. I remember waving at a photographer who I followed on Twitter, and I thought that she followed me back, and I waved at her at Comet Breaker, and she completely blanked me, and I was like, oh. And then I looked and I was like, oh, she doesn't follow me. Oh.
Yeah.
Like this whole thing, this whole time I thought like we knew each other kind of like as a mutuals on Twitter, and we totally didn't.
That was the weird thing with me meeting Loaded Lux this weekend. Like, so that guy, he's like a big inspiration to me. And it's so rough because like I'm meeting him and it's like, damn, I know so much stuff about you. But
you know nothing
you
about
don't
me.
know me from a can of paint. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Where does he?
He's from Manhattan. I mean, he's from Harlem.
But you found him where?
Oh, like I think he was out
in Times Square or something?
It wasn't Times Square, but it was just,
nearby, near the garden.
Yeah, I think it was like somewhere near. I don't know the areas, but it was very close to here. But he had like some camera people with him, so I don't know if he was like shooting a music video or what. But yeah. But that's so I'm just trying to do this stuff to give some type of perspective, because I think there's some people who may be like more well known in FGC but aren't able to articulate what you go through. So I'm trying to give some type of perspective on how it goes. I guess like my whole angle is I want to be the person who go and become the best player in the world, but you're actually able to see how it's happening in the transitions and like the mental side of it, the ups and downs, so on and so forth. So that's why I'm even going to going in depth to explain these type of things that I haven't seen other players really comment on. But yeah, definitely guys, make sure you watch Street Fighter League, follow your boy on Twitter, subscribe to me on YouTube. And I want to just give one shout out to my boy BornFree, not even just on some like, oh yeah, obviously here in his video. I noticed, and I seen something I haven't even told him yet, but when I came in here, I noticed like he actually had a paper with this red ink, and there's all of these like cool, like I don't know if it's like questions or whatever, but it's like, I think it's like tailored to the person. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like actually specifically tailored to me. He's not just showing up with a camera and just, just winging it and let's see where this thing goes. This level of professionalism is something that the FGC desperately needs. And in sports, LeBron isn't playing every night. And you know what I do? I go and I turn on Stephen A. Smith. I watch ESPN First Take and things of that nature. And if it wasn't for those things, then sports wouldn't generate the interest or the money that they generate. So content creators, especially dedicated content creators, like I think it's specifically good that you're not trying to be a pro player. Specifically.
It's too late. I feel like I'm too old anyway, but yeah.
But specifically, like Stephen A. is, this is what he does. Yeah, you know what I mean? And, just the fact that you're actually, there's cool, I don't want to break the fourth wall or whatever too much, but I mean, the setup here and everything, Tom, sound guy, like there's Sennheiser, there's all kind of dope stuff going on here, and, I think that we need more of this in the FGC, so I just definitely appreciate you for creating this type of content. And I'm not just saying that because, like I said, I can tell you about the Punk interview at King of New York, or the Taquito interview, the Speed Kicks interview when he talked about his notebook and the stuff that he actually writes in there. Yeah, I watch all of that type of stuff, man. So, I think your content is phenomenal, and I think that you actually help to build the FGC tremendously, even in ways that you won't be able to see, quantifiably. So...
Well, that's very kind of you to say so.
Yeah.
And of course, what do I say after all of that? Because that was a lot. But basically, right back at you. Basically, keep doing what you're doing, keep grinding, keep making the content. But I think the main thing is to focus on the one thing that you want. Because there is a lot. There is the personal branding, there is the content, there's a lot to take on board right now. There's a lot of ways to be successful or somewhat successful in fighting games, and we'll see where it goes. And I think we all have a part to play in growing it.
Yeah.
And you're an integral part of that, and have been an integral part of that. You've been doing a lot over the last couple of years. And I hope you continue to do that. I hope you find success.
I appreciate that, bro.
So I just want to say thank you for the interview.
Much love, Mark.
We'll probably
bro.
split this one in two. It's been a long one, but it's been fun. It's been interesting. A lot of energy. I'm definitely going to go home and fall asleep, I think, because that was a lot of energy there.
Yeah.
And I guess we'll say goodbye to these guys. So see you guys.
Peace. Much love.
If you want to support me directly, the two best ways you can do it. You can subscribe to my Twitch channel, that's huge. Or you can become a patron. Again, huge. Those two things. The links are below. On that note, I want to thank my current patrons. You can see them on screen now. I have $1 patrons. You guys are making a huge difference. There could potentially be thousands of you because there are thousands of people who follow me and watch the interviews, and that would really, really be something. I'll give a shout out to my biggest contributors, of course, Nathan Duncan, Terrence Harris, You Ain't Jeff, and Steven Sense. And Twitch subscribers, you get shout outs live on stream, as you know.